If you are experiencing foundation issues, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
3:30 after the hour. Welcome Coach Will Copeland, the head basketball coach of the Sylacauga Aggies. And Coach Copeland, of course, has been the basketball coach here for several years, and a state championship team, Final Four run, near Final Fours, and he announced a few days ago that he will be leaving Sylacauga school system and Sylacauga head coaching job to go to Florence. And Coach, that's your hometown, right?
Yes, sir. I'm born and raised there.
Talk about a little bit what goes into your decision to go home.
Well, the boys basketball coach at Florence his name is Anthony Reed, and he was the coach at Fort Payne when I was an assistant there for 8 years, and I learned a lot under him when I was at Fort Payne. And he called me back in March or April, I believe, and just started asking me about it, that the girls' job was open, and I kept telling him no and kept telling him no. And then one weekend, my wife and I went home to Florence, and we met with my mom. My mom is 86, and we have some land where we live, and she was talking about how she's going to divide the land. And so she said that my brother was there, my sister was there, because they all live in Florence. And we talked, and my sister asked me about it, and I said no. And then that night we were out to eat. My wife and I were out to eat, just us, with no kids, because we get to talk when we have no kids. And we just started slowly talking about it, like, what if we were back here? And we were around my mom, who's lives by herself. I mean, she lives with my brother, but my dad has passed away. And so we just started talking about it, and that was one of the key issues that came up. So,
some people, and I mentioned this off camera, if they haven't, they will ask. You're leaving a rich basketball tradition here that you've been able to be a part of building with a state championship team, Final Four teams, and boys program on solid footing here.
Right.
Why would you? And not disparaging of a girls' program at all, because some great programs here, but why would you, in some people's opinion, take a step backwards instead of staying where you are?
One big thing is one, it's going home. And number two, my family is a single income family. My wife stays at home. She's a school teacher, and she stays at home and homeschools our kids. We're a single income family, and this job is going to allow her to stay home and take care of our kids. And it's a pay raise, just to be honest about it. It's a pay raise that's going to take care of my family. Basketball is basketball. I mean, it's girls, and the ball's smaller and things like that. But we just see it as an opportunity. So
we congratulate you on going home and Florence High School. And how did it progress as far as you talking to your team, talking to the administration about the possible change?
I let them know. I talked to them in the hall. I'd seen our athletic director and our principal, and I'd seen them in the hall. We were talking about school things. And then when they had called for an interview, I got thinking, I was like, it's not going to be right to not let them know. So I went and met with the principal, met with the athletic director, and said, listen, they've contacted me. I've responded, and I'm going to interview. And then you have to go in and tell that you've been offered the job. And I told them that. I've been offered the job, I accepted it, but it's not been board approved. Just have to wait till it's board approved before that it's absolutely for sure. And then I told the team in the weight room one day about, they had heard it had gotten out, like it does sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
It had gotten out, and I told them and explained to them the situation as best I could, and they went. The kids handled it very maturely. The kids, did what I asked them. Even when they found out, because I told them, I'm here to the end of school. We're going to lift weights. We're going to do skill work. I'm still your coach till Thursday. So it was the last day of school.
Obviously, you wrestled with the decision a little bit.
It was for the first couple of months, it was like, because we like it here. We like Sylacauga. We bought a house here when we first moved here. Have no regrets about that. It's a very nice town. It's a great school system. So it was, and it's always when you're talking about packing up and moving. Because I have a 5-year-old that when we told her, she boo-hoos every time. She tells us, I don't want to leave this house. I don't want to leave my friends. And I mean, she's 5 years old. So it's not an easy decision. It's not like we're mad and everything. We're just made a decision.
So what's next?
Tryouts are going to be after Memorial Day.
Now, this your final week at the high school?
Yes, sir. Thursday is the last day of school. Graduation is Thursday night at the stadium. And then after Thursday, the next week is when you get into tryouts and meeting your new team and summer schedule for them.
So you not much break there.
No, it's not much break, and it's you have to. I think it's like any relationship that ends. You have to move on, and the other side is going to move on. So you have to move on, and sometimes you on certain areas you can't look back, and you can't worry about what's going on in Sylacauga. You're always. I'll always be connected to two things for sure is Coach Jones and those kids, and you're concerned with how they're going to do and their well-being, and you're going to want to know that. But all the rest of it, you've just got to look not in the rear view mirror, but in that front mirror.
Just on the outside looking in, obviously to me, you and Coach Jones had a great relationship and worked well together. How did you go about talking to him about this?
I let him know, and I told him, and like I said with everybody, tried to explain. When you have you're going to have questions. I want them to ask me. Instead, I don't want people talking among themselves and trying to decipher. Come to me and ask me. And he would stop by my house. He was wanting to know, and I explained to him and told him, and he understood. So.
Have you coached girls basketball before?
I have never coached girls basketball in 20 plus years of coaching basketball.
What's some of the differences? You said the ball was smaller, but what else? Is it for real smaller?
It is.
Wow.
Yeah, it's smaller. You hear I did a lot of research and asked people, what they thought, and they told me sometimes they say they listen better, but they're not able to be as athletic as what guys do, and they don't improvise as much. They're more set, but they say they listen to you better.
Have they been a contender, the girls program?
They have not had a winning season in 8 years, and last year they won 5 games.
What a challenge.
It is a challenge. Yeah. It is. Yeah. It is.
Let's look back at your time at Sylacauga High School. How many years?
This is 6. Finished up 6.
And state championship team, a couple of Final Fours, and close to Final Fours, some great competition, but a great run here.
It was great. It was a great time, and like I said, just being, it's you want to win those things, which are important, but you also develop relationships with kids and being able, and other coaches and going through those struggles with the kids and just teaching them about life, that life is not always laid out the way you want it to be. In my first 2 years, they weren't. Coach Jones came on board, and we've told the story on Daybreak before, and it turned around. Yeah. And I think the last 4 years we won 101 games, lost 32, won a state championship. So it was a good run.
Talk about some of the games that really stand out of your mind that Sylacauga had big wins in.
The Final Four year was important, but I can go back to my 3rd year. We had won our first area championship, and we had to play Helena, who was like one of the top teams in the state at home, and we never trailed. And I think that was one of the turning points of making it past that sub-region round and getting to Montgomery, so the kids can see that's what it's all about. And then the next year, being able to go to the Final Four, and then the kids realized, hey, we could make it to the Final Four. And then the next year, we had a really good year, barely beat Booker T. Washington in that first regional game at the buzzer. And then doing all that and then having to go to the Final Four and have to play Talladega and losing to them 3 times. And that was a big win for us. Very exciting for our team. And then, of course, the next day or the 2 days after that, winning state championship is great. But this past year, had a good season, but, winning the county, winning the area again. And the last game was tough. Losing to Ramsey by 1 point is still on a lot of people's mind that was in there. So that was tough.
It's kind of ironic that Sylacauga wins a state championship a year ago. Talladega wins it this year. And what competition you guys had?
Oh, it was great competition. And Coosa, right down the road, wins a state championship. It's really good. People don't realize it sometimes because it might be small, but this is great basketball around here. From in our county, in neighboring county of Coosa County. There's a lot of good teams in this area.
During your conversation and discussion with others about the head coaching job for the girls at Florence High School, is that a basketball area right there? Or?
It is. It's in a county, and the county has got they've got a couple of big schools, but most of them are small schools. Lauderdale County High School girls basketball has won probably 10 state championships, and that's the thing about going home is, you know, me and their coach grew up playing baseball together, so I know a lot of people in the area, and it's going to be good to get back to people I've known for a long time.
Yeah. What about the young men that you've coached that have gone on? Have they contacted you or any of those?
They did, especially the guys off the state championship team. They a lot of them were, you know, and have called and sent text messages, congratulations, and nothing negative, just, you know, Coach, I wish you luck, and just a lot of former players that had seen it on the news were very positive about it.
Absolutely. We wish you the very best, and congratulations on being able to go home. Not everybody can go home.
That's
right.
It's
very seldom that you can do that, but we're glad that you can, and take care of your family, and great success with the Florence program and the Florence girls basketball. You going to be doing any other coaching there?
No, sir. I barely know anything about basketball, so they didn't ask me anything else. So I'm just going to.
You know it's round, don't you?
Yeah, it's round. Yeah, that's about it.
Well, thank you for being with us this morning, and appreciate your faithfulness to the Aggie program and leading these young men. And we know you'll do well at Florence. And good luck to you and your family.
Thank you very much.
Coach Will Copeland, who's the head basketball coach at Sylacauga High School, he is resigned and taking a job at Florence, his hometown, for the girls program there. His final day will be graduation day. And so if you get to see Coach Copeland, wish him the best and his family. We got more Daybreak coming up right after this.